Running on Air by 11ty7, Chapter 9, Part 1. The headlights illuminate the endless highway, and there is something mesmerizing, paralyzing about it. He could go anywhere. He could just keep driving, heading into that unknown journey. He glances to the passenger seat. Draco's there. "You're here," he says quietly. "Yes. I can hear you this time." Draco stares ahead at the road, disappearing beneath the car wheels. The white lines flashing past as if the world is turning beneath them, and they are standing still. "I've come to say goodbye," Draco says. "No." The word is out before Harry can stop it. "I've got something for you." Draco looks away. "A memory. But it will cost a lot to give it to you." "Don't." Perhaps it's the potion. Perhaps it's because the realization is hitting Harry like a wave against a cliff. This might be the last time he ever sees Draco. He doesn't even know if he can ever find him. "I'd rather have you than a memory." Draco looks back at the road. "After I've given you the memory," he says, "I won't be able to come back again." "Did you hear me?" "I heard you." Harry drives in silence for a long moment. He keeps his eyes strained on the road ahead. He can feel the weight of Draco's gaze upon him. Then Draco speaks quietly. "Pull over." "What now?" "Yes." They're passing through some small village in Hampshire. There's a playground nearby, the night dew gathering on the empty swings. Harry pulls into the parking lot next to it, turns the engine off and waits. Draco is silent for a long time, and Harry thinks he's collecting his thoughts. Draco is methodical like that. Everything has to be in its correct order. "What do you think happened to me?" Draco asks at last. Harry frowns. "What do you mean?" "How I disappeared." "Well, a forced disappearance, of course." "No." Harry waits a long moment, concentrating on the feeling of the steering wheel beneath his hands. Something solid, something real. He exhales slowly. "No." He repeats at last, trying to hide the betrayal in his voice, but it comes through anyway. "No. I chose to disappear. Originally, at least." Harry's silent for a long time. He glances at the playground, staring at the empty swings. The worn tracks from where people made shortcuts across the grass. Desire paths, he thinks they're called. When people create their own paths as opposed to using the set footpath. "You're angry," Draco says, and Harry tries to laugh, but the sound comes out a little more as a choked cry. "You left people behind, Draco. God, do you ever think about other people? Your wife, Astoria, and your mother. She never stopped searching. Damn it, damn you, and you're selfish." Harry cuts himself off, hating Draco, hating himself. He tries, laughing bitterly, but he can't even do that. And he reaches for the door handle, feeling claustrophobic suddenly, needing to escape. "Are you leaving?" Draco asks. Harry pauses. "I'll understand," Draco says after a moment. "It's easy to leave." Coming home is hard. Harry exhales slowly and drops his hand from the door handle. "Why?" he says. Another long silence. Then, "I don't know. I just left for 3 months. I decided to come back after that to fix some mistakes, but something happened." Frustration lances through Harry like a needle. "Draco, are you practiced in the art of legilimency?" Harry's heart drops. He glances away, gazing out into the night. A wind is picking up around the playground, making the swings sway. If Harry listens closely, he can hear the rattle of the chains.
I can perform the spell,
Harry says at last.
Well, it won't work very well. They told me to practice it for my role as head aura and...
He trails off.
Oh, I hate it.
He says at last, staring at the swings slowly swaying. Then he turns to Draco and lifts his wand.
But I'll try. Wait!
Harry waits. Draco touches a hand to the window, his fingers ghosting across the cold glass as if he's trying to ground himself on somehow.
All right. Legolemons.
It has been a long time since Harry last cast that spell, and he winces as soon as he says the word, waiting for the chaotic memories to smash into his mind, waiting to be caught helplessly in the riptide of someone else's consciousness. But there is nothing but darkness and silence, and for a moment he thinks he's failed completely. Then a scene slowly brightens around him until he's blinking into the sunlight. Everything seems so bright and crisp. He can see every color, feel every texture. This is nothing like pensive memories. He's standing in the middle of a field. He holds out a hand, feeling the gold-colored weed feather across his fingers. There's the smell of high summer in the air, the scent of dry air and splintered grass. He tilts his head back, staring at the sky. That cloudless blue, so pristine and perfect. Maybe he can stay here forever, in an endless summer, here in his mind. Then he slowly turns and walks across the field. The weed rolls away in every direction, an ocean of gold. In the distance, there's a thin black road cutting across the land like a scar. A Renault Megane parked along it. Harry walks towards it. Feels strangely disconnected from everything. Not happy, not sad, not angry. Nothing. He opens the driver's door and sits down, glancing into the rearview mirror. He can see himself, but at the same time it's not him. For a moment his green eyes fade to grey. He starts the engine and drives. For a moment all he sees is the road. Then the images flash through him like a series of photographs, like a wild rush of unhappiness. His parents, no, those are Dracos, young and smiling again. Lucius will always be the strongest person in the world, and Narcissa the most beautiful, and their family is perfect. And then they're growing old, and Lucia looks so weak and afraid, and that's not supposed to happen. Fathers are supposed to be invincible. And it makes him feel sick to his stomach. It makes him terrified. Narcissa and Lucius are arguing again. That's all they seem to do those days, but her voice is getting quieter and quieter, because there's too many people in the house now. Aunt Bellatrix, who makes the prisoners scream, 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 until Harry wants to beat his head against the wall, or just go to the cellar and Avada Kedavra them all, just to put them out of their damn misery. Or maybe he'd just Avada Kedavra himself. Then it will all be over. Nobody can control him then. Nobody controls a dead person. But he can't even do that. He's standing in front of a mirror with his wand held to his forehead, but he can't bring himself to do it. It's pathetic. And then the emotions. While the anger and confusion and rage die away along with the war, and Lucius has gone, and Narcissa says they'll join him soon, but he can't go away. If he runs away, he'll be just like his father, and isn't that a cruel irony when he spent half his life wanting to grow up just like his father? No. He's the master of the house now, so he has to be the perfect son, and he can't run away. He has to set all finances in order and make sure Narcissa doesn't fade away to nothing and takes care of herself properly. And he has to make sure everything is perfect. He'll marry someone, and they'll have a house and respectable lives, and everything will be perfect. But it's not. And he feels nothing inside. Like the war has cut away everything that used to make him human and left nothing but a paper cutout. I can't run away. I won't do it. Harry is suddenly yanked sharply forwards like an invisible hand has grabbed his collar, and he recognizes this place. He's standing in an owl emporium. It's a warm September day. Summer is still fading from the earth. He'll purchase a new owl and go home and start again. Every day the same. He can't take it anymore. This emptiness, this ceaseless routine, it's like singing the same song over and over. It's like drawing lines on maps for journeys he'll never take. It's like running on air. He needs to run until he can't hear anybody calling his name anymore, until he forgets everything, until he's lost, until he's gone. He walks out of the shop. It's a warm September day. He could go anywhere. He disapparates. Harry feels the cold first, and then the rest of his senses filter through. He's sitting in the driver's seat of the Renault, but he's him again, in his own head. It's nighttime, and he's parked beside a playground in a small village in Hampshire. He glances into the rearview mirror, just to look at his own reflection, just to make sure he's himself. He looks beside him, to the passenger seat. Draco sits there, but he looks exhausted, insubstantial as smoke, and Harry realizes he's already fading. The worst thing, Draco says, each word weighted with exhaustion, is that even now, I am not sure I want to come back. I ran away, just like my father. It's all pointless now, isn't it? You didn't run away, Harry says, his heart heavy with emotions, and he can't tell whether it's his own sadness or simply remnants of sorrow from Draco's mind. You just left for a little while. We all do. Thinks of Ron leaving them during the search for the Horcruxes. Thinks of himself and the many times he wished for an easy death to deliver him from the choices the war imposed upon him. Do you remember, Draco says, when we were 11? Harry looks at the playground, listening to the wind whistling through the chains of the swings. Yes, he says. When he looks back to Draco, he's not there. He's finally lost. He's finally gone. Harry arrives at Ron and Hermione's house a little after midnight. Hermione takes one look at his face, then immediately sets about making a pot of tea. Ron ushers him over to the fireplace. What happened? Your luck potion work? Ron demands. You look like you've had a day from hell. It worked, I suppose, Harry says. Still working now. 12 hours, you said, didn't you, Hermione? She nods, coming over to sit in the armchair opposite Harry. When did you take the Felix Felicis? 1 o'clock this afternoon. She checks her watch. 20 minutes left. You need something stronger than tea? Ron asks. Got some fire whiskey if you want it. No, thanks. Harry gazes into the flames of fire. Burnt low in the grate, and the flames are small, wavering gently over glowing coals. Draco's gone. Ron drags over a nearby footrest and perches on it, looking worried. That's the whole case, isn't it? I mean, you've been searching for a month.
Not really a revelation.
Harry laughs humorlessly.
He's been appearing, remember? Oh, yeah, I remember you told us about that.
Ron frowns.
To be honest, I thought you were just imagining things.
Ron looks abashed.
Sorry, mate, but this case, you've been a bit obsessed with it. I don't know, it can play tricks with your mind sometimes.
Hermione reappears with 3 mugs of tea, handing one to Harry. How do you know he's not coming back? She asks gently.
He told me.
Harry stares down into the cup of tea.
He said he can't come back. Not enough energy or magic left.
He wonders whether he should tell them about the memories. Normally he wouldn't, but he has a feeling it's something to be shared.
He asked me to cast Legolemons on him and see some memories. Oh, no,
Ron says, looking wary.
You're bloody awful at that.
What happened?
I saw a memory,
Harry says.
Clear as a photograph. And I sort of, at these memories and emotions unraveled like a ball of string.
The realization of Draco's skills only hits Harry now.
It's the best occlumency I've ever seen, including all the aura trainers that worked with me. You won't believe it. I didn't see his memories. I lived his memories.
What was it like? Hermione asked, looking intrigued. I've never done occlumency myself, and I always wondered. Harry wants to answer her, but he doesn't know how to phrase it. It was like flying, he thinks, but with no broom, no spells, nothing. Just rushing through the sky, and he's reminded so strongly of that night Draco drove by the river, and it felt like you were travelling through the sky, the world disappearing beneath them, and the stars falling like rain.
It was like running on air,
Harry says at last.
Oh, that clears it up then,
Ron says.
Anyway, don't worry about it. You'll figure out this case eventually, especially if you have a brilliant aura like me helping you.
He grins.
And Hermione, of course.
Ron turns to Hermione.
Right?
She stares at him blankly. There's a glazed look on her face, and Harry recognizes it instantly. He slowly sets his mug of tea aside and leans forward.
Hermione?
He says quietly, but she quickly shushes him with a dismissive hand. Ron and Harry wait. At last, Hermione stands up slowly. Ron, she says, fetch my copy of Thaumic Mathematics and the Nature of Causality, will you?
What? What bloody hell have you been reading about? Mug of Rockets or something?
Ron gets up and disappears, reappearing a few minutes later with a very large book under one arm.
You really need to control your library. I got attacked by an angry kickstool, he says grumpily.
Quite, Hermione says distractedly, and Harry, unable to stand still, jumps to his feet and begins pacing endlessly. For the next few minutes, all he can hear is his own footsteps and the occasional turn of page. I remember now, Hermione murmurs. Let's see. It really represents a form of phase space. That's the key, the 3 rules. Do not interfere with the nature of causality. She looks up at Harry, her eyes bright. Harry, she says, I think Malfoy had a time turner. The clock chimes 1 o'clock, and Harry's luck has run out. To be continued.